Hello. Hope you're well. July 31st, 2025. We're 7 months into the year, and well, I was going to say I'm ready for the year to be over. I'm ready just for current American society and all of its belief systems and agendas to be over. It's not a good sign if you're only 7 months into the year and you're ready for it to be over with. But yeah, I'm just ready for, yeah, all of our current politics and bizarre personal agendas from all of the different political spectrum standpoints. I'm ready for all of it to be over. I'm ready to evolve as a human being. But as an American, you understand that our society is not based on evolution, it's based on de-evolution. Not a good sign. And it's getting worse. So welcome to it. Welcome to American society, where things are really, really fucked up and they're getting even worse. Yeah, good times, right? Good times to be an American. Don't you feel patriotic these days, fellow Americans? Yeah, that's what I thought. Also, I noticed just now, actually, right as I was pushing the record button, I was looking at my YouTube page here, and this is my 300th video. And basically, I have been doing this channel for exactly 5 years now. My first video was in August of 2020. So I've been doing this for 5 years, and this is my 300th video. So I thought it would be fun to just kind of check in with whatever audience I have left. And I don't know, talk about my channel and things I've learned and get super, super corny and cheeseball about my channel. I was thinking about doing a channel well before I actually started doing it. People were recommending it to me at least a decade ago. In fact, it was before that. I can remember 2013, 2014, friends of mine were nudging me, trying to get me to do it just because I have opinions and I have a lot of records and I have a lot of knowledge about art in general and movies and I never did it because I never wanted my face out there. I still feel that way. And I know it makes no sense because here I am projecting my stupid face to the world, but it took me a while. I mean, yeah, it took me almost a decade to finally, get the nerve up to do this. What I've learned in the 5 years I've been doing this goofy channel is that, um, I guess what I've learned more than anything is I still really respect YouTube. I know that sounds weird, and I don't want to sound like I'm, being a salesman for YouTube and Google because I'm not. But the way I see it, YouTube is really the only bastion of free speech left in America where you're kind of left alone to say what you want to say, unedited. You guys have seen my videos. I've never once had YouTube interfere with anything that I've done, ever. The only interference in any form I've ever gotten is when I post videos that have music in them and it's a rights issue. I'll get these little emails. Like, what was it? I think it was Coil. I did a video on Coil Love Secret Domain a couple of years ago, and I edited it and I put video in there and I put audio in there. And I don't do that anymore because basically they said, you can post your video, but any monetization you get from this video is going to go directly to Coil, which, okay, that's fine. That's cool. I'm talking about their music, and I wouldn't be doing a video if it weren't for their music and their artistic vision. But I also thought, the pennies that I do make with this channel, I put a certain amount of effort and thought into it, so I want to be able to make whatever pennies come to my channel. I don't want it to go to Coil or anybody else. So that's a big reason why I don't post music in my videos anymore, is because I don't, I make cents on the dollar for every video I make. But even still, I'm the one that puts forth the effort, so why give my 2 pennies to someone else when I'm putting forth all the effort? So, I know there's an argument there, like, I'm talking about music and the artists are the ones putting in all the effort. I get that argument. So, but anyway, it's also just time consuming. I don't want to put a lot of time into putting music in my videos. But anyway, in the 5 years since I've done this channel, what I like about it is YouTube is arm's length when it comes to interfering with what I have to say. They've never had a problem with anything I say. And I say crazy shit. I get on here and you guys see me rant up and down. I say things out of pure emotion. I say things that I don't even really believe. I just am emotional in that moment and I say it and it comes out and then I regret it later, but it doesn't matter. YouTube lets me post it and they never interfere. I've never had any interference about what I want to say ever. So I have a lot of respect for for YouTube in that way. They don't get in the way. In fact, it's the opposite. They give me a platform in which to speak. So that's really cool. The other thing I've learned is that viewers come and go. Viewers are very flighty. And yeah, I'm talking to you guys. I'm talking to you, my viewers. Viewers come and go. They're really into what you do, and then they disappear forever. And then a new wave of people comes in, and they're really passionate about what you're saying and what you're doing, and then they go away. And that has been the most consistent thing about my channel, other than me having stupid opinions, which I will always have. But when I first started, I started getting subscribers. I was like, wow, this is cool. Let's see how big I can expand this. And especially 3 years ago when I was pumping out videos every day. Was that 3 years? 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Seems like yesterday, but a couple summers ago, I was really pushing hard. I was doing videos every day, and I got a lot of subscribers, and people were really into what I was doing. And then after a month or two, they went away. They disappeared. In fact, none of you, and if I can look at when you started subscribing. So if you do respond to this video, I'd love to hear you and hear from you. But there is really nobody who subscribed to me in the beginning 5 years ago that's still here today. If they are, they just forgot to unsubscribe. But especially those of you who comment on a regular basis, none of you were here from the beginning. And so that's something I've learned about YouTube is like people come and go. Like those of you who comment now on a regular basis, you won't be here in a year or 2 years from now. You'll be long gone. You'll move on. I'll say something that pisses you off or you just get bored or you move on. But people are flighty. That's what I've learned. Subscribers, they're really into what you're doing and then they get bored and they move on. Or you say one thing that pisses them off. It's funny how people are, like, again, this is what I find interesting about our current society is that you can say 100 things and 99 of those things are something that really resonates hardcore with somebody, but then you say one thing that they disagree with and they unsubscribe from you. They get upset. Like if your values don't align absolutely, totally 100% with someone else's values, they'll just cancel you. And this is our society, right? Like you're not allowed to not only have differing opinions, but you're not allowed to wholly and fully align your values and agendas with somebody else. And if you don't, you're out. They don't want to hear another word from you. Doesn't matter if you're batting 99%. If you say one thing that people don't like, they're out. And I'm not talking about. I have voiced my displeasure with politics, and it's interesting too because I've been very clear. I'm not left or right. And I'm not even an independent, and I don't think of myself as a libertarian either. I think all those words are bad. And only a very small portion of my audience understands that. I am trying to foster a thought process with people that is wholly original. I'm trying to evolve as a human being. And when you do that, you don't align yourself with any current political agenda. You have to think in an individual way. And there's some people that just understand that, and there's some people that don't. Most people don't. Most people just are very brainwashed, and they have to think one way or another. And it goes that way throughout art too. I've said things about music, I'll like everything. Like rivet heads are the worst. I've learned this. If you love industrial music, like some industrial music, rivet heads just expect you to support the whole movement. They expect you to like every single thing that's industrial or termed industrial, whatever the fuck that means. They expect you to fall in line, lockstep, right down the line. You're supposed to like this, 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 and this. And if you don't like this, then I'm canceling you. Rivet heads are the worst. You rivet heads that are watching this video, you're the worst. Now, when I say you, I don't mean like each individual, because not everybody's like that, obviously. But I think when it comes to musical tastes, rivet heads are very, very linear in their tastes. They like industrial and nothing else. And if you don't like everything that's coined industrial, you get canceled. Another funny thing about rivet heads too is they apparently some of them, I think it's a very small portion, but most industrial music is very liberal and left wing, like Skinny Puppy, for example. Skinny Puppy is extremely liberal and left wing. I mean, they are one of the most anti-fascist, anti-right, pro-liberal bands that exist. But there are some hardcore right-winger Trump dickheads out there that love Skinny Puppy. Apparently, they don't listen to the content. They don't care. It's all about those jackhammer beats, I guess. I don't know. But Skinny Puppy fans have been very interesting on my channel because, my Skinny Puppy videos and ministry videos are the most watched videos out of all my 300 videos. And this goes for ministry and Al Jorgensen too. I've heard from people that are staunchly right-wing, Republican, conservative morons who love ministry. But they have problems with Al Jorgensen because of his left-leaning politics. It's like, really? Are you not listening to the content? Do you have no concept of what Al Jorgensen's entire lyrical content is about since the very beginning? That kind of stuff blows my mind. Super hardcore right-winger people who love Al Jorgensen. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? So I've run into these people a lot on my channel. It's one of the things I've learned. I'm talking about all the things I've learned on my channel. But I think in a way that's a good thing because I get exposed to this kind of thing, and I have to expand my mind in terms of how to look at the world. Because it's probably naive of me to think this, but when I think of a ministry fan or a Skinny Puppy fan, before my channel, I generically would think of someone who was conscious about their planet, eco-conscious. They were pro-animal rights. They were pro-human rights. Maybe they even had some socialist tendencies. Oh my God, socialism, right? You say that word around a right-winger, their eyes start twitching. But that's how I would think of those people. But after this channel, that's not how I think anymore. I've had to readjust that thinking. So I like that part. I like readjusting how I look at the world. But then it's a bummer that you have to consider that these people do exist. People who... It's like religion. People pick out certain parts of the Bible or certain parts of anything that fit their little narrow agenda of the world, but then they throw out everything else because it doesn't fit into that little narrow linear agenda of the world. So you run into these people on the internet and YouTube. You know, you run into them anywhere. But when you see them on the street, it's funny. You know, when you see them on the street, you don't know that. You bump into them in the grocery store and you never know it. But when you're on YouTube, people feel empowered because they have that privacy to blast out their thought patterns at you, and then you get the real truth. So that's something that I've learned absolutely with my channel is um, 90% of the people that you run across are really good people, and they find your channel for the right reasons, whatever those are. The right reason only makes sense to me because I'm the one that runs the channel. But 10% of the time, you know, you run into people who just are angry and they want to yell at you and they don't care about their neighbor. Um, I've run into them. I've definitely run into these people, and they like the same music you like. You know, that's the crazy thing. Like you have a lot of things in common, but then there's like this one fundamental trait that they have that is really scary. You know, to me, what I've always tried to promote with this channel is, you know, hearing everybody out and giving them a voice and an opinion to a point. When they start getting hateful, I just block them, and I've had to do it many times. And you don't want to think that of a fellow Skinny Puppy and Ministry fan, but I've run into them. Those people that just attack me because I said one thing that they didn't agree with, um, and repeatedly do it. I'll never block someone if they just say one thing, but they repeatedly do it. And so at that point, you have to block them. So anyway, just little things like that I've learned throughout having this channel for 5 years is people get really intense. Um, and people are not what they seem. I always knew that, but YouTube opened up a whole different uh, spectrum of that possibility. You know, not really understanding someone's true motivations until you say one little thing that they disagree with. Oh yeah, I mean the first time I started talking about politics 2 or 3 years ago, I lost people for sure. People were attacking me, and these were people that supported me openly, that would comment and make really supportive, positive comments. And then I said one thing politically, and then I lost them. They got unhinged, and I wasn't allowed to have a differing opinion, and it was scary. You know, this is how people are now. But let me just throw an opinion out there really quickly to kind of rehash what I just said. You right wingers who listen to Skinny Puppy and Ministry, are you serious? You need to find a new band. You're not listening to the music. When someone says they're a right wing conservative and they love Skinny Puppy, I think that's hilarious. You need to re-examine your entire lifestyle. You shouldn't be listening to Skinny Puppy if you're a right wing conservative person. You're not getting it. You are seriously missing the point. But that's an opinion. And going back to my first thing about what I love about YouTube is that YouTube lets me have my wacky opinions. Cheers to opinions. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what to do with my 300th video. But the 300th video fell right on my 5 year anniversary. So I just thought, well, I don't know. I'll just sit here and talk to you people. And I appreciate you guys who have been here for a while. Again, none of you who still comment on my channel were here at the beginning. I don't expect you to. I'm just pointing that out. I think my first video was Andy Weatherall. So people found that because they're Weatherall fans, but obviously Andy Weatherall fans aren't necessarily going to be Skinny Puppy fans. Or that's something I really wanted to do with this channel too, maybe more than anything, is just talk about whatever's on my mind because I'm passionate about many things. I think I lost a lot of subscribers, or not. I haven't lost a lot of subscribers actually. It's interesting. In fact, it keeps climbing. I keep thinking I'm going to lose people, but I never really do. It just goes up. So that's a good thing. I mean, it's been trickling up. I've been at 1,800 and something for a long time, but I just don't post videos much anymore, you know. But Also, I know I'm all over the place, but another thing I love about YouTube is when I do these videos, I reach people, like the people that I talk about in my videos, the artists. It's happened several times. I've done a couple of interviews. I've had other interviews planned, but then they fell through. Um, but yeah, these people, you hear from them. They email you, they reach out to you, they message you, they agree to an interview. So it reminds you of how small the world is. You know, it is a community after all. And I understand when I make my videos where I'm going off politically and I'm having really wild, crazy opinions and I'm being profane and I'm cussing and swearing. I know I'm going to lose people, I know. But I think the people that subscribe to my channel, the type of people that hang around, I think they get that part. They understand that it's part theater with me. Like when I get on here and I go on my rantings, yeah, there are plenty of you that love it when I rant. And a lot of that is just drama. I am, I'm trying to create some entertaining content for you. It's not necessarily how I feel. It's not how I walk around all day, every day. But sometimes when the camera's shining on me, like right now, I want to perform. It's performative, and that's entertaining for people. And so I think the people that get that, those are the types of people that I like having on my channel. You guys get it. I love making people laugh too. I've always been able to make people laugh. Um, it makes me feel good, and there are plenty of you who laugh your ass off when I do my ranty videos. So I enjoy doing that. Those of you who understand where that's coming from, I appreciate you and I love you and I'm glad that you're here. And if you don't get it, oh well, too bad. Um, but I do like doing different things. The people that just pump out the same kind of content over and over on YouTube, good for them, but I couldn't do it. It's just boring to me. I like talking about music. I like talking about movies. In fact, I'm going to talk about a few movies here before I click off. Um, but yeah, these are the things I love about YouTube. They give me a voice. I get to communicate with you guys. I reach the artists that I talk about. There's no interference from YouTube. It's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it while I can because I envision that it will not always be this way. I do think there's going to be a time in the future. It could be in a year, it could be in 10 years, I don't know. But there will be a time that YouTube starts clamping down on people's voices. YouTube will get bought out by somebody eventually, and they'll clamp down on people's free thought. It will happen. It always does. It always does. I'm just hoping it doesn't happen for a while because yeah, they've never interfered with anything I want to say ever. So anyway, yeah, in 5 years, these are the kinds of things I've learned. I've learned that the other thing I learned too is, and I know nobody asked, but I don't care. This is my 300th video, and you can click off if you don't like it. Something that I've definitely learned is that I've had to learn this in other aspects of my life, but you don't want to get too overly friendly right away with your audience. It's a bad idea. I tried doing that in the beginning, and unfortunately, I on the surface I have a very welcoming personality. I want to connect with people. That was the big reason I wanted to do a YouTube channel to begin with, is connecting with like-minded individuals. But when you do that, you just don't have any gauge on what that other person's really like. You know what I'm saying? Like you have this utopian vision of people across the internet who you're connecting with, and they all share the same very core values in terms of privacy, for example. You just assume they get that, but you learn the hard way that no, they don't get it. And it's happened to me several times since having this channel. People reaching out to me personally, making threats, emailing me, making threats, um, finding me through other channels and making threats. Like these things happen. It's these kinds of instances and happenings have really motivated those videos where I'm ranting. You know, when you can see that I'm kind of a raw nerve and I'm a little bit angry about something, it's something happened. You know, and I've learned that I hate doing it, but I really have to take a step back when it comes to connecting with my audience. Let me put it this way, I wanted to connect with all of you who support me and my channel at the beginning. Now, not so much. I'm just being honest with you. I really don't want to connect. Like every time I do communicate with a couple of people outside of YouTube, and I'm really happy for that. There are a couple of you that I've been able to email and even text, and I've been able to build a trust with you guys, but that's not easy for me. It's tough. You know, it's you don't give out personal information easily with strangers. You know, it's just the kind of world we're in. So anyway, another thing I've learned: don't be so friendly with your audience. I know that sounds really mean and lame, but yeah, you need to be careful because the people that I trusted too, people that initially would make really supportive comments, and then you say something and they get unhinged and go off the rails. It's like, oh shit. Okay, people are taking this way too seriously. But at the end of all this soliloquy, and I'll get into a few movies I've recently purchased. Going to be kind of a rambly video, as you can see, but thank you guys, honestly. I mean, really, that's all I can say at the end of this is thank you guys for coming along. 5 years ago, I had no clue what to expect from this. I had no idea. I honestly thought I'd have 5 subscribers if I was lucky. So the fact that I'm pushing 2,000 now, I don't know, to me, that's crazy. I know that's really low for the vast majority of YouTube channels out there. They have well more subscribers than I do. But for a random dope like me who just speaks his opinion and talks about music and film, and the fact that I have almost 2,000 subscribers is amazing to me. So thanks for coming along. I appreciate it. And those of you who have been around for at least a few years and you've been commenting and you're still here, I appreciate you. I appreciate you putting up with all of the varying content that I throw out there because I know it's different. On YouTube, you have to keep it very focused because people have ADD. Like YouTube has they have these little workshops for up and coming content creators, and they try to tell you what works and doesn't work and what's trending and not trending. And they always tell you, like, find a niche and do just that. Like in my case, I probably would have more subscribers if I focused just on industrial music and that's all I talked about. But that's not what I want to talk about. That's just a very small portion of what I like. And so I think that's where, for me, the majority of YouTube channels get kind of boring to me, is that you can tell they're just running out of content. They run out of ideas, but it doesn't matter because most people who watch things on YouTube just want to have their own opinions mirrored back at themselves. But I prefer to challenge that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong or I'm better. It's probably for the worse, but that's just what I like. I'd rather challenge someone and talk about something that's not industrial or not whatever. I want to confound your expectations. Be a little bit subversive in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like when you click on my channel, I want you to be curious as to what I'm going to do next. To me, that's interesting. If you just sit there like a goof and you say the same thing over and over, and there are plenty of music channels that do that, I mean, who needs that? I certainly don't. I don't want to see it. But obviously I'm in the minority, aren't I? The vast majority of people on YouTube have ADD. They just want 5-minute videos and they want to have their own agendas flashed back at them. And also, it's probably morbid, but I get off on challenging people, you know? I enjoy people thinking that they understand me, and then I say something that flies in the face of everything I've said because I am an independent thinker. Like politically, people weren't ready for my politics, but I've thrown them out there, and people didn't like them. Well, oh well, see you later. So I'd much rather challenge people. My favorite comments that I get, and I've heard this from all the people that I talk to personally outside of this channel, is sorry, I've got a pube in my mouth or something. I hear that I don't agree with everything you say, but I still respect you. Like that's the best thing I can hear. I don't want you to agree with everything I say. Why would I want that? If you find someone and you agree with every little thing they say, then there's something wrong. They're not pushing you. You know, it's there's something inherently wrong in just flat out agreeing with everything somebody says. And that goes for music and film too. You shouldn't like every movie a certain director does. You shouldn't like every album a certain musical artist does. The best artists are challenging you and making you think and maybe even putting some stuff out there that you hate. To me, that's the best. I know a portion of my audience is like, fuck that. I want you to say everything that I agree with, okay? Well, too bad. I think anybody who's stuck with me long enough knows this about me. If you don't reflect my own mores in every possible way, I want you canceled. That's the way I've been brought up, and that's the way I believe. And if you don't think that, then I want nothing to do with you. But that's good. I'd rather weed those people out anyway. I would prefer to not have them on my channel. So, anyway, those are the things I'm trying to think of anything else I've learned throughout having this channel. Essentially, in a nutshell, I have learned that most people are really cool, and there's a small percentage, maybe 10% of people that just suck. They're just, I mean, the word troll is just so overused at this point. They're just dicks. Some people are out there, they just want to be devil's advocate. They just want to disagree with you. Even if they don't disagree with you, they still disagree with you because they get off on having the opposing viewpoint. Even if they don't even believe the opposing viewpoint, they're still going to have it. You know what I mean? That pops up on my channel almost every video I do. Someone just wants to argue with me. And I've blocked certain people in my audience that have been that way in the past. I know I've gone off on that before, but there are two or three people that it wasn't an easy decision, but I blocked them. Every time I'd post a video, I'd post like an hour's worth of stuff, throwing out all kinds of information, and then there'd be one tiny little thing that I left out or something, and that's what they'd point out. I ended up blocking those people because it's like, you know what? You're just a bore. I'm not offended by it. You're just boring, man. How boring is it when you're just sitting there taking notes and then you're gonna note the one thing that I didn't say? To me, that's just boring. You're not contributing to the conversation at all. I know people disagree with that, but yeah, I've blocked several people for doing that because I noticed it would be the same person. If it was just one person who did it once, it wasn't a big deal. But there were a couple instances where, like, every time I'd make a video, they'd go out of their way to nitpick something. And that's just not the energy I want on my channel, man. I notice you guys. There are only, I've said this before too, out of the almost 1,900 subscribers on my channel, there are a couple dozen of you that comment. I'm not exaggerating. There are like 20 or 25 of you that comment on a regular basis out of 1,900. I did the math actually. I talked about this earlier in the year, and the people that over the last 5 years, the people that have I looked at the analytics. The people who have subscribed to me over the last 5 years, and the percentage of that population that comment on a regular basis is less than 1%. Less than 1%. So the fact that I've removed comments a few times, and right now I'm holding comments, some of you may have noticed this. Whenever someone makes a comment, it gets held. YouTube made an update this year to comments, which was perfect. They hold comments, and then I have to approve them. 99% of all comments that I get, I end up approving and releasing, you know. But um, this is one of the instances why I love having the ability to hold comments, is I don't get a lot. Only a couple of dozen of you do it. And yeah, it's one of those things where I just stopped paying attention to comments. I hate to say that because I don't want you guys to feel like you can't comment, but people are flighty. People will comment really heavily for a very finite amount of time and then they'll leave. Like, what was that guy's name? Ian. Ian, the dude in the UK, the Stranglers fan. What happened to Ian? Ian, where'd you go, man? Ian was one of my best commenters, and then he just disappeared. He probably got sick of my shit. I don't know. But people will passionately respond to everything you do, and then they just disappear. So, part of it's my fault. I get it. But those of you who stick around and put up with me, you are the people, I guess, that get it. And so those are the people that I truly appreciate. And thank you for being here. Thanks for everybody watching my silly channel. I get it. It's funny too because I've said this in my members only video, but maybe more than one. I make members only videos every once in a while, and I get really raw there. But here's the fact, and I mean this with 100% sincerity. I truly hate people. I really do. And when I say hate people, I don't mean everybody. But the vast majority of humanity and the things that they're motivated by and the things that push them in their daily lives, I despise. I truly hate the things that humans get passionate about. Making money, selling things, social media, promoting themselves. I hate humanity. I really do. I really do believe, and I'm trying to not get ranty because I know I say these things when I'm ranting, but I just feel like humanity's hit a wall. I think that creativity has been bled out of humanity in recent years, and I think that mediocrity is celebrated. And it really makes me despise people. So the fact that I have a YouTube channel where I talk to people and connect to people, I know it's kind of contradictory to all that. But I guess with my channel, what I really try to do is find those people. I feel like the vast majority of people are these types of people who are obsessed with social media, who are obsessed with themselves, who have ADD, who can't put their phones down for more than 5 seconds, who are completely self-absorbed, who are constantly on the cell, people who are obsessed with money, people who read news and watch news every day that's owned by 3 or 4 different entities, news that's biased so severely one way or another that you're not getting any truth anymore. People are just so ensconced in this culture that they don't even know up from down anymore. They don't know left from right. They're just completely lost individuals. To me, this is the vast majority of people. The vast majority of humanity all fit into this. My YouTube channel, it's here because I want to find the people who are sick of this, who are smart enough to know that this is the truth. The people who don't buy every piece of garbage that's sold to them. People who just aren't motivated by money. Because the vast majority of people are, man. It's all money to them. Even in my own family. My family gets together and the only thing that anyone talks about is money. How much money they made, how well they're doing at their jobs, how they've been promoted. All of this superficial bullshit. Superficial to me anyway. People are obsessed with money. It's the only thing on their minds. And I kind of get it because, especially in America, people don't have money anymore. You know, the rich being rich and the poor being poor and no middle class. I mean, it's never been more intense than it is right now. So part of me kind of gets people's obsession with money. There's never enough of it. So I don't know. I think it takes a different type of person to see that and put their phone down and stop being so self-absorbed and not being obsessed with the things that we're told to be obsessed with. And I know that's what my channel has become a little bit more lately, but I don't know. It's the post-COVID world. I'm going to talk about what's on my mind. So I know this is a very rambly video, but hey, I warned you in the beginning. I appreciate those of you who get that part and you're still here and you still share my taste in music and you can still watch me knowing that you disapprove and you disagree with me about certain things. I appreciate you still being here because those are the types of people I want to be around. I can't tell you how many people I've lost because I said one thing they disapproved of. Like, whatever, get over it. It's just that cancel culture that we have now. And you know, I get tired of that argument like, oh, you're just getting old and set in your ways. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know, everyone's set in their ways. I don't care how old you are. Everyone's set in their ways in some way. I'll admit when I'm wrong. As someone who's been here for 50 years now, it doesn't take a genius to see that this world is in a much worse place than it was even a decade ago. You know, you're not old and set in your ways when you're pointing out facts. It just means that you're more wise. It means that you've seen the world in a different state and you're frustrated with the current state. You know, it is what it is. So, yeah. Um, I think we need more people who just think rationally. Let me put it that way. Just today, I get on YouTube almost every morning. I catch up on things I want to catch up on, just random stuff. Sports. Um, you know, I'm a big sports fan, so I check up on some sports stuff and see what gets recommended to me. And there's this guy, this dude. There's another shooting. This guy went into a building where the NFL headquarters is, and he started shooting. And in the comments, it's like, you know, the comments, you really kind of you get your thumb on the pulse of how people are thinking. And you see this guy walk into a building and fire at people. He's got a semi-automatic weapon. And somebody, usually it's someone who's not an American. It's funny how that works out. Someone who's not American, they'll go in there and they'll say, well, you know, I'm not American and this kind of thing never happens where I live because guns aren't available to wackos. Sounds pretty commonsensical, right? And then the people who argue with that are always Americans. Always Americans. And their argument for lack of gun control is always nonsensical. It never makes sense. They always go back to the Second Amendment. Our Second Amendment is there for a reason. It's always an American who says that. It's Americans are so locked in to their outdated way of thinking, especially with things like guns, that we're in this state of arrested development. I mean, that's an understatement. These shootings are it's completely bizarre to the rest of the world and to a huge portion of Americans. It could be dealt with so easily. But these pro-gun people, like they want to they overcomplicate it because they're so afraid of their surroundings. They're so afraid of losing their rights, which, by the way, your rights as an American is a total mirage to begin with. It's a complete fictional fantasy world that you live in. Your rights. What are you talking about? Your rights mean nothing to the powers that be in America. I love it when Americans talk about their rights. Your rights are a dream. They're a fever dream. You think you're not being scoped and watched every second of your life the moment you're born? Of course you are. And gun nuts always want to talk about the Second Amendment, which was written 250 years ago when people were using muskets. But they don't see the difference there. They don't see the difference that maybe that our culture is a little bit different than it was 250 years ago. It's hilarious to me. People that don't live in America, they're like, I can't even believe this reality that Americans have. Well, we do. And there are plenty of Americans that can't believe it either. Somebody will watch my channel and they'll say the same thing, and it'll be an American. They'll make up some bullshit response talking about rights and the Second Amendment. So what? Join reality and evolve. Things change. Things change. So when people say, oh, you're just too old and you're out of touch, no. This is an example that's just completely untrue. The Second Amendment needs to be altered. Sometimes it's time to move on from the old ways. It's so obvious, but this is how lost Americans are. They just can't think outside of their silos anymore. It's impossible. They can't do it. To them, it makes more sense to uphold the Second Amendment, which is a 250-year-old, long outdated rule, and continue seeing mass gun violence in public places. That makes more sense to them than to have more gun control. Well, it's the Second Amendment. It's very complicated. It's too now. It's not. It really isn't all that complicated. It's complicated in your mind because you're scared. You're scared of the world around you, and therefore you think you need guns. And this is just an example of why you should subscribe to my channel. Is because people who are sensical and do have a realistic view of the world around them can have a haven and get nerdy about music and movies and things. You can talk about that too. But that's what my channel is. I'm going to call out bullshit when I see it. Just an example. This whole gun thing. I mean, did you guys see this? Go look at some of the stuff on YouTube concerning this dude who just fired up the NFL headquarters. And look at the comments. Well, Second Amendment, you can't take my gun away. I need my gun. I need my semi-automatic rifle. You can't alter the Second Amendment. I need my guns. No, you don't. You don't need guns. But try telling that to the average redneck, dopey, knuckle-dragging American. Good luck. By the way, speaking of knuckle-dragging redneck morons, have any of you seen the new South Park episodes with Donald Trump? He and Satan. Oh my God. South Park is always funny. You can just always count on South Park. Thank you, Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I'm so grateful these guys are still doing their thing. They're still staying relevant. This newest Trump thing they did was absolutely hilarious. I was in tears. It was so funny. Not just Trump, but our whole society. And how people are scared to have an opinion and scared to go against Trump. And God, they're just beautiful. Trey Parker and Matt Stone, I love those guys. Go watch the new South Park episode. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, they skewer Trump, but they just skewer society. They skewer the media. They skewer the fact that all media that we see is tilting one way or another. It's all agenda based. Um, none of the medias, none of them are comfortable in talking about the truth or going against Trump because they'll be sued. It's great. Go watch it if you haven't watched it. It's really good. Anyway, um, that is just a smidge. That is 50 minutes worth, actually, of the things I've learned in my channel the past 5 years. And I realize that nobody's going to watch this video all the way up to the 50th minute. I get it. And fair enough. Fair enough. Good. I'm glad you're not here anymore. Okay. Let me talk about some movies. Like I said, nobody's left. I was going to say those of you who are left, but nobody's left. But even better, I'll just talk to myself. I haven't been buying records, actually. You'll notice I haven't done a lot of music videos this year. I haven't been buying records, really. I don't know. For the first time in my life, records just aren't making a lot of sense to me. They're way too expensive. It's become a bourgeois collector fetish. People and their vinyls. I love it when people put the S on vinyl. They pluralize something that's already plural. I love that. I got some new vinyls today. Anyway, yeah, it's just collecting vinyl has become this bougie thing. And it's really expensive. Buying a 12-inch now is $20. Buying an album is $40+. It's like this makes no sense to me anymore. And Apple Music exists. I mean, I know I always talk about Apple Music. I'm not trying to be a commercial for them, but I pay $10 a month for Apple Music, and everything is on there. So it's become harder for me to buy records this year. It's just not worth it to me anymore. There's too many. It's too much money. Like, I'll give you an example. Let me look at my. Oh, wait a minute. Let me look at my Juno card here. Yeah, like I have stuff in my card at Juno right now. Like there's an album here I want to buy. It's a double album. It's $50. 50. 50. Okay. There's a 3-track 12-inch I want to buy. $19. Another double album I want to buy, $43. I mean, if I wanted to buy 2 albums and a couple 12 inches, it's going to cost me $200 after shipping. And meanwhile, all of these releases are on Apple Music. So that's just where I'm at these days. I don't know. I'd rather pay $10 a month and get everything I want in high quality than have more records that are costing me so much money. It just doesn't make any sense. So I haven't been buying records this year. I bought a couple, but for the most part, I haven't been buying. It's just, I don't have the money for this anymore. It's silly. It's pure silliness now. Record collecting. It's become a rich person's hobby. Now, as I talk about not spending money, I'll talk about some movies I bought, because I know that makes sense, right? I contradict myself. You guys know this about me. Welcome to my channel. I'll just talk about these things very briefly, and I'll get the hell out of here, because I'm pushing an hour right now, and that's too long. I picked up Ace Ventura. I just love this movie. I don't know. Almost no bonus features on it. It's got a commentary from Tom Shadyac, the director. Nothing from Jim Carrey. It comes in a tin case, steelbook, whatever. But I just love this movie. I love Jim Carrey. Still think this is the best movie he's ever done. Ace Ventura, one of the best comedies ever. Had to pick this up. This was something I bought at the end of the Criterion sale. This is the Truffaut set. This just came out on 4K. I'm not a big Truffaut fan, but I don't know. It was half price. and I thought I would investigate this. Again, not a huge fan of Truffaut, but I don't know. I just thought this is one of those things that might be hard to find at some point. Maybe it goes out of print. I don't know. I just thought I'd pick it up. I It was the very end of the Barnes and Noble sale, and I thought, well, let me just pick this up. And this is the most fun thing I picked up. This is from Shout Factory. I just got this the other day. I picked up the new Blaxploitation Classics box set. This is volume 2. It's got the same puke-worthy cover. I talked about my displeasure of the cover of volume 1. It had this weird cloudy fart of a cover, and they did it again here. I don't know what is this? Are these the worst covers you've ever seen, or is it just me? Anyway, who cares? The movies are here. Look at all that 4K goodness. You get Foxy Brown, the best blaxploitation movie ever, in my opinion. Friday Foster, Cotton Comes to Harlem, Bucktown, Slaughter, which is a great movie, and Slaughter's Big Ripoff. Volume 2. I don't know how many volumes are coming, but can't have enough of these movies. I think this collection is even better than the first volume. I mean, they're both must-haves, but this is volume 2. And because I pre-ordered it from, I don't think I had to pre-order it to get this, but I did get it directly from Shout, and I do like promoting Shout and supporting Shout Factory. You can either get it for $150 on Amazon, or you can pay $140 and get it directly from Shout and get a poster. I chose the latter because I don't have enough crap in my collection. I need posters now. But whatever, I got it anyway because they did an excellent job with the poster. They basically, one side, it's a two-sided poster. One side you get kind of an advertisement for the box set. You get cover art for each movie. Then they made the perfect choice of dedicating the other side to one movie and one movie only, and that is Foxy Brown. This is really the reason I got it. I will probably end up framing this. To me, the finest blaxploitation movie of all time, Pam Grier and Foxy Brown. They could have chosen any 6 of those movies to dedicate one side to, but they chose Foxy Brown, and that is the only correct decision to make. Very happy to have this, and yeah, I'll probably end up framing this. Who doesn't want Pam Grier hanging on your wall? I certainly do. I'll put Pam Grier on every wall in my house. You wake up to Pam Grier. You go into your kitchen to Pam Grier. You go into your living room and there's Pam Grier. You go into the bathroom to take a dump and there's Pam Grier. Come on. Wouldn't it be a better world if we had Pam Grier in every one of our homes? I think it would be. Anyway, I'm happy to get this, the blaxploitation set, and that's all there is to it. And that is my long-winded, extremely overtly verbose 300th video. 5 years. I appreciate you guys being here and putting up with me. I know a lot of you came here and you wanted music, and I did nothing but music, and then I started veering off into other pastures. It's what I do. I want to keep talking, but I'm disillusioned by records now. It's finally happened. You know, I've been collecting records since I was a kid, and it's finally happened. I'm just kind of not feeling it anymore. I'm truly not feeling it. It's too expensive. I feel like vinyl culture has become an annoyance. I feel like the vinyl community has become a community that I don't really connect with anymore. I don't mean across the board, but I feel like generally it's just not a community that I want to be part of anymore. I don't feel like I'm part of it anyway. At these prices, are you kidding? It's just become a non-sustainable hobby for me. I have to pick hobbies that I can afford. And record collecting has finally become something that I just can't really be a part of anymore. If I want to live, if I want to continue paying my bills and having a roof over my head and having a car and paying for things that I need to pay for, I don't have money anymore for records. I just don't. So anyway, thank you for coming along with me on this goofy journey that is my YouTube channel. I will have plenty more to say, at least until I get Alzheimer's. I don't know when that will be. Hopefully that never happens, but I don't know where that came from. I'll always have an opinion until I have no mind left. Let me put it that way. At this point, I think I'm going to have a stroke before any of that happens anyway. Every time I step outside and I walk into the grocery store or I'm surrounded by other people, I feel like I'm going to have a stroke or a heart attack and die just watching people be so self-absorbed. Let me say this too before I leave. Take a moment to put these away. Put them away. This past week and a half, I've taken a couple of trips. I got in my car and I drove far away. And I took long walks. I live in Washington State. Last weekend, I drove up to Mount St. Helens. You've probably heard of Mount St. Helens, right? Of course you have. It's a volcano. It's a big mountain that blew up 45 years ago. Mount St. Helens, I can see it from my back window right here. I look out my window and I can see the mountain. I'm an hour away from it. That's how close to Mount St. Helens I am. I drove up to Mount St. Helens last weekend. Drove up there. I was in the middle of nowhere. I left my phone in the car and I spent all day hiking. Some of the best moments I've had in months. I left my phone in my car and I was disconnected for 2 full days. It felt good. You should try doing the same thing. Life doesn't revolve around you and your thoughts and your phones. Put them down just for a couple minutes and be a human again. What do you think? Thanks for coming along with me in my goofy, ridiculous 5-year journey. I'll talk to you next time. Later.